Oh shit, there's more than one episode. But wait, one more thing before we continue. Remember that shock pyro shock pyro thing? I lied. It deals 9 damage. Alright, let's now talk about your holy magic spells. Relic Razor. Nothing special, just keep in mind that it has longer range than you would expect. Battle Cry. It grants 25% damage buff for 20 seconds. Half minute cooldown. Has large radius. It buffs the guys you are double teaming with even though it doesn't look like it. I have a reason to believe that it buffs the damage of the car weaponry, but I don't care enough to test it. Face Melter. It melts faces. It's not an insta-kill. Single player version deals like 14 damage around you. Coincidentally, most of your enemies have less than that. Multiplayer version would deal like 8 damage in a smaller radius. 1 minute cooldown. Works with holy diving. Alright, the melting face close-up. You can avoid that. So, if you paid attention, you noticed that solos take effect before the animation of you playing the solo finishes. It's like that with most solos, including other factions. There is such thing as solo cancelling. So, let's say that you choose the wrong solo and you need to cancel it in the middle to avoid danger or something. So, what happens if you cancel a solo after it takes effect? Exactly. The solo does not get reverted and you skip the rest of the animation, regaining control sooner. Pretty neat, right? If you do solo cancel for Face Melter, you prevent the melting face close-up. If you ever find yourself consistently solo cancelling virtually every single solo you do, including other factions' solos, you will achieve what I call level 1 ascension of solo cancelling. Level 2 can be achieved only by Speedrun. If you play a Face Melter, cancel it, and quickly start another solo, you will still get a melting face close-up. If such thing ever happens to you by accident, congratulations, you achieved level 2 ascension. Your training is complete. Back to solos. Rally Flag does exactly what it's named after. Obtain it. Rally Army does exactly what it's named after. Don't obtain it. Keep in mind that it's situational. Sometimes your army is spread over a large area and flying around to gather them would be slower. There is no such situation in the story missions if you ever think about unlocking it at Battlesmith. Light of Dawn. It nullifies buffs and debuffs benefiting your enemy for 40 seconds. In the speedrun it matters only against the Doom. I unlock it to increase the odds of the Rock Crusher surviving, and that big boy is needed to get through fast. You know, the dirigibles increase your damage intake. After a short test I came to conclusion that Light of Dawn does not work against stage fog. Secret Zeppelin Attack. So, this one is too much out of the way but makes the late game more pleasant. With decent driving it takes 90 seconds to reach it, given that you reload the checkpoint after learning it. It deals infinite amounts of damage over time in large area. With this you can directly damage enemy buildings without your army. It doesn't work with holy diving. The channeling time is pretty long and they'll wreck you before you finish. You need to distract them with your army to survive the entire channeling time, or summon it somewhere near them and lure them into it. At this point you probably know more or less how orders work. I'll cover less obvious things, starting with individual orders. From ground, when you hold the action key, nearby guys freeze in place to listen to your devious plan. The next order you give will be executed only by a highlighted squad. As long as you hold the action key, you can walk around your dudes freely and keep giving orders. No queue, only the most recent order you gave them will be done. Once you let go of the action key, your guys will execute your plan. You could also use individual orders from ground, not to give orders, but to freeze your guys in place and make sure you double team with the correct dude. Actually no, that's the only use. Individual orders from ground are so inefficient it makes me lose my mind. Why did I even talk about this? But individual orders from air are different story. When you hold the action key, the cursor appears. Hover it over your guys to highlight them. You can select more than one squad with this. After you release the action key, the squads will stay selected for a couple seconds and only they will execute your next order, even when they are out of shouting range. If you selected wrong squad, release the use key, hold again and start over. There are a couple things you should know about orders. The melee guys, when they are on hold position or follow command, they suffer from that absurd loop where they would like to beat up the shooters that shoot at them, but then they wander too far from their position and turn back, like a dog on a leash. The attack command is a remedy you are looking for. Now it's time to go over some gimmicks about double teams. So first of all, the camera has nothing to do with it. When deciding who you double team with, the game considers the direction in which Jack is looking. Just like in sweeping while surrounded. Some double teams can be initiated from air, included but not limited to Thunderhawks, Rock Crusher or your car. Some double teams can be interrupted whenever you like, so the teachings of solo cancelling apply here. In most double teams, the guy who you double team with tanks all the hits for you. And that's pretty much it. Basically, the story mode is one big tutorial for Ironhead squads. Headbangers. Up to 16 headbangers in a radius around you form a cycle. Don't overuse it. Actually, don't use it at all. It knocks all the dudes all around so they won't attack for a while because they are too busy flying around and getting up. It's cost effective but not fast. And you are denying yourself an opportunity for a shock bomb. If you use a stun node, Mosh Pit gains much more value. When you double team with them, you can still get hit. Laser girls. The shot deals something like almost 4 damage. You can run and gun with them and lock on targets. Use it to destroy buildings faster. Unattended headbangers will kill Fenlich faster than unattended girls, but the girls you double teaming with will do it faster than bangers on their own. Upgraded version deals more damage and comes with heavy knockback, which implies unblockableness. Thunderhawk. By now you know the stun node. It deals less than 1 damage, stuns them for 10 seconds, has 24 seconds cooldown, and prevents knockback for your comboing pleasure. If you have 3 of those bad boys on you, you can completely stun them with no pauses in between nodes. It deals some ramming damage. Once you ram them, let them get up or else they won't get stunned by the node. There is a visible indication for you that the stun node is currently on cooldown. Those sparks. One more thing, it has wider range than the visual effect.
Gotta get rid of him so we can secure our fan base.
Fire Barons. Ring of Fire. After you make it, it shrinks, burning whatever is inside. It's death sentence to most level 1 stuff. Sadly, don't get much glory in the run. Head Splitter. I have never used this double team in an actual attempt. The bolt and splash damage from the explosion seem to be doing damage independently from each other. Giant Fist Warriors. You may recall a Destruction Derby from the Speedrun strategy. The Deathly Fist Bomb deals, I think, 6 damage. And that's all there is. It's simple, it's destructive, it's beautiful, it's metal. Roadies. Do not use them for regular combat, even though the double team gives the heaviest of knockbacks. Keep them on the run and keep them hidden. In stage battles from time to time you could pull off some surprise butt sex at their stage for a cheap victory, but come on, you can do better than that. Fire Tigers. Their breath is hot and you know they're mean. So, when you double team with them, constantly breathing fire deals more damage than licking them with flames and letting them burn. But I would suggest licking everyone with flames and just keeping the flame alive. And kiting them, because the fire does not keep the melee guys from hitting your taiga. Rock Crusher. The grinder grinds. The damage from the grinder, at least as far as I know, does not increase with speed, so driving slowly just to maintain contact with the grinder seems okay. The double team surrounds an area with a Stonehenge. It is bigger than the indicator. Whatever is at the edges of the indicator will be inside the Stonehenge. The Sword of Holy Magic King's Justice deals damage both on impact and upon exploding. The pillars of the Stonehenge are tight enough that vehicles and big guys won't pass through. The same goes for your own big guys. The stones block enemy projectiles and beams. I think the same goes for your own projectiles and beams. Did you know that you can double team with your stage? In more than one way. From ground you can double team with stage mic to unleash dry ice to slow them down, or blast the speaker check to trip little guys. If at any point during the run you are forced to double team with stage mic, it's a disaster. From flying position you will double team with stage like. It's a cannon basically. One blast deals 0.8 splash damage. You can charge it for heavier punch. Charged shot deals 4 damage. You can charge it partially. Same DPS either way. I see potential use for them in the speedrun. Metal noise, blood and fire, tell me what you most desire. I'll now talk about upgrades that you can buy and the situations they are best suitable for. I mean, you could blindly replicate the shopping list for any of the record runs, but if you like to make a revolution in this area, I want you to understand how the list came to be. Razor's Edge.
Very sharp.
Available at the first visit. It deals 1.25 damage. Your regular 4-hitter now deals 5 damage. I hate to admit it, but this is #1 choice for speedrun, if not overall. This one is the best suitable against high health targets, meaning that your priority is to focus high health targets rather than a crowd of little guys. Chain Lightning.
This one's a troublemaker.
Available after battle for Blade Edge. #1 choice among casuals, myself included. It allows to hit multiple enemies. It deals no more damage to the primary target and something like 25% of damage to the others. It deals as much damage as Razor's Edge as long as there is more than one dude in the vicinity. Also it stun locks multiple enemies. If you do the Grand Slam, the lightning seems to arc to more dudes than the other strong attacks. I didn't notice if electrocution from it does any damage like shockers would. Useful during duel with the Black Slayer and during stage battle to protect your girls and hogs from diggers. Worth considering if you ask me. As much as I would like to use this thing, it's pretty expensive and I failed to put myself in a situation where this thing is useful. Other axes? No. Just no. It hurts to watch all those axes and none of them being good. If there is one axe that I would want, it would be some berserker shit. You know, the less life you have, the harder you hit. Alright, let's get over your strings now.
Very sexy.
No technical benefits, only style benefits. I wish there was a special quote for Fire Cord. Brawlers and Destroyers.
Actually, these are the best strings for combat.
The damage buff applies to Flashpot, Roman Candle, Fire Cord and Rock Kick. The damage of Fire Cord with Destroyers is increased from 3 to 4. With Brawlers, I bet it is in between, 3.5. In the same manner, Roman Candle with Destroyers is buffed from 3 to 5? It's difficult to measure since it also buffs Flashpot. Brawlers probably give the buff somewhere between the regular and Destroyers. Brawlers are available right away, Destroyers are available before the Chinese Wall. Super Shakers.
That'll really get their attention.
Available at the first visit. #1 choice among casual players, that is until high voltage kicks in. With these you'll turn your stick all the way down to drop A. They are pretty useful if you don't forget to use them. They increase Shaker's damage from 1.2 to 2.5 and increase range. Also they increase knockback. Remember the stun node combo? It deals 8 damage now. Laser girls and emo kids have 8 health. Coincidence? Probably, but you see where I'm getting. Shredders.
It's like soloing with a whole backup band.
Available before the Great Chinese Wall. They increase your hit capacity and reduce solo cooldown by 20%. Now you can do 4 pyros, 13 shakers and so on. This one got included in the route because too many times I was like, man, I wish face melter wasn't still on cooldown. Meaning that I wouldn't recommend to blindly buy shredders at the beginner level. I mean, what's the point of reduced cooldown when you are unable to play solos on cooldown in the first place? The increased heat capacity on your guitar can cause developing some bad habits when you go back to normal guitar string. Anyway, remember how I said that shredders are key component of getting through Doom's Dawn fast? I lied. Currently I'm researching if shredders can be switched to super shakers for competitive setting and so far it looks doable. Or maybe faster. And then I had that one thought with destroyers and then it worked and I don't know anymore. There will be details when it's time for levels breakdown. High voltage.
Not sure that thing's properly grounded.
Available before Swamp Escort. Thought I would mention since these are even more OP and imba than Disgorger. With these, shockers are 3 times as powerful. It also triples the power of Shock Bomb. You would have to sacrifice over a minute of driving and there isn't many places to utilize them. Pyromaniacs.
They're hot, but you can handle it.
Similar story as with high voltage. Triples the power of your pyro. With this you can delete any guy in the blink of an eye. Here's bad news for you. Neither high voltage nor pyromaniacs increase your damage against chains in final fight. Shame, isn't it? Oh, about this. Go into game files, find this file and modify this line. This shit's useful for testing stuff. And for finding out-of-bound treasures if you're into it. While we're at it, check this out. That's exactly what it's named after. I already covered the basics of special moves. Not much changed since then. Except... Remember when I told you that you cannot damage buildings on your own? I lied. Besides Secret Zeppelin attack, there is Shock Bomb. Yeah, imagine my face when I found out. And it actually has a use in a run. You can bait the emo queen to spend fans to repair the stage before your damage comes. It means she recruits less shit, so there are less distractions for you and your guys. I've been thinking about combining it with high voltage to deal serious damage to the stage, but it doesn't save enough time to pay for the first visit at Ozzy's crit. I didn't try too hard though, so if you're interested you can explore the subject. And there's this. You can damage story-specific buildings with whatever. Axe attacks are heavily scaled, so don't bother. Turbo.
That's better.
First level is available at the first visit, after the rodeo, along with all the other car stuff. Second one comes in after the Great Chinese Wall. Decreases turbo cooldown half a second per level. Also increases top speed while turbo. Does not influence driving without turbo. It saves many seconds throughout all the driving sections, maybe even over a minute. I never bothered to measure the total time save. I know that as long as you drive at full speed, each level of turbo saves half a second per turbo activation. Just remember, even this won't help if you are a terrible driver. Performance.
For the warrior in a hurry.
Availability is similar to turbo. Increases top speed while driving without turbo. Maybe they increase the base accelerations, but I don't know. Doesn't increase top speed while on turbo. I didn't include it in the draft because it saves time. I did it because I had leftover tribute, so I figured I will buy this just in case it does anything. It does, but not as much as your driving skills. Once Turbo 2 kicks in, performance upgrades are irrelevant. So with Turbo 1 they still do something. But where do you use it? From Battlesmith to Blade Range, from Battlesmith to Great Chinese Wall, and on the way back. The end. If you don't have enough fire tributes, this is the first thing to kick out. Available at the first visit. It's mandatory. End of story.
Are you sure you can handle that?
It deals some damage, but whenever I shoot at something, I can feel my patience taking damage instead. Disgorger. Available at the first visit. This thing is OP. Take it. Its ability to delete your problems is just immeasurable. I didn't even bother to test any other secondary weapon. Except... Sideburners. Works like Disgorger but deals less damage and has less range. Still very effective against basic melee combatants if you do the thing right. Eye of Sorrow.
Someone could really do some damage with that.
Available after the Great Chinese Wall. This thing is imba. No primary weapon is better. Heatseeker is strong contender, but that one is effective only at long range, while the tear cannon is good everywhere else. So, What's the secret behind my vintage setlist? First, back in the day I had problems with red guts, I wanted to maximize my DPS. Then I realized that there's driving. Then I was inventing strategies and came to conclusion that I needed shredders for Doom's Dawn. Then I figured that I should find more than one use of shredders. That's how strategy for Final Fight came to be. Then I had leftovers. And that's it. I want to make some changes, but I don't know what kind of. What bothers me is that I'm learning new stuff as I'm making these videos. You may experiment on your own if you feel like it. Most of the discoveries I gave away by now, be it directly or subtly. You know what you want to buy yet? Good. You have enough fire tributes? Not my problem. Now I will show you all the fire tributes that I know of that you can get without losing time. This one you can get after the lair of Big Ass Spider or during Machine Gun Eddie.
Awesome! Okay, how about 11 o'clock is the direction, Mangus? See that dial on your soundboard with the 12...
Machine Gun Eddie is riddled with fire tributes, but keep in mind that when the bus gets too far from you, it stops. And if you don't keep up with biker monkeys from Mars, the bus blows up.
Tick choppers up here, Eddie.
If you want, it is possible to get 10 or more bound serpents without losing time to get bonus max HP. You would have to unlock remaining serpents in the second half of the run, either doing Swamp Escort or one of the stage battles.
Trouble up ahead. Boss, I think we're here.
Look over here, son. Yeah! Hell yeah! This is awesome! Hey, Lars, I can see your house from here. From this new vantage point, I can totally see what the problem is. Bunch of gross fan leeches are eating our fans.
We already knew that!
Silence, Groundwalker!
Our fists are gone. The gaskets.
Thanks.
I don't care what's up with fire tributes beyond Battersmith. Now I will teach you the bloodbath. So when you have only this Gorger on you, you just drive slowly in circle. This is called bloodbath, both literally and figuratively. The melee guys will just keep walking into it, so no precision is required. You have other targets to worry about. First, groupies. They just stand still, shoot and want none of it. Keep the spray on them. The blood applies overtime effect that burns them once you sprinkle them, but the major damage comes from contact with high pressure bloodstream. If you can, keep them just under the faucet as much as you can. Next, giant fist warriors. They will keep walking towards you because as long as you are in your car, the AI treats you as a vehicle, and vehicle destroyers are naturally attracted to vehicles. The same story. As much contact with fresh bloodstream as possible. These guys have HP, with capital H. Later, the tear cannon kicks in. It works similar to blood. I never cared to get the numbers for that, but the overtime effect from the tear cannon seems weaker than the blood. I think there is damage from the blast, but I don't feel it. It's not as strong as Heatseeker, that's for sure. It doesn't look like it, but I think the blood and tear cannon overtime effects stack. Even if not, it's worth it to make an attempt to murder them with both things at once. And you can fire both guns simultaneously. Kinda. You familiar with Cuphead weapon swap glitch with a plane? Same deal. Fire the cannon and spill the blood while the cannon is reloading. Oh, by the way, the reload time for tear cannon is 1 second, unless there are waifus around. So there is an input glitch. When you press the attack button while holding the other one gets released. When you release either, both are released. So, to unleash the full potential of the car arsenal, don't alternate the fingers on your mouse. Fire the cannon, press the right one while holding left, and keep holding both. When it's time to fire the cannon again, release both, repress left, repress right, hold both, you're good. Just like with most things with learning to play an instrument, start practicing this motion slowly at first. That's a tricky one, but you'll get it. No DLC available? Don't worry, I got your back. Sideburners is the answer you are looking for. Has less range, but it's still effective against basic melee guys. The campfire is a little trickier to perform and you have to pay more attention overall. Basically, you just drive in circle with specific velocity and you try to trap them in a vortex. Like this. Alright, that covers the basics. Probably. I don't know. All the good shit that's there I'm discovering just now when I'm spending enough time studying brutal magic justice. Yeah, that shotgun thing? That's pretty metal. Next episode of this shit starts with pilgrimage to the Temple of Resets on all that speedrun bullshit you only care about. Pack your toothbrush.